Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are so delighted that you chose to be with us and welcome you to the 14th edition of TIDE, our technology innovation for digital enterprises. Over the years, TIDE has grown into a signature platform for us here at HGS. Bringing together thought leaders from more than 100 companies who share insights, innovations, and success stories that drive digital transformation. Before we jump in, just a couple housekeeping items. All participant microphones will remain muted throughout the session to ensure an uninterrupted experience. Attendees can share their thoughts and feedbacks in the chat box, and we would encourage you to do so. Questions related to the session may be posted at any time, and first come, first serve. So get those questions in early. You can post those in the chat and QA session, or we'll address them in the chat and QA session. These will be addressed at the end of the presentation. Today's session is titled "Using Microsoft Fabric to Solve Business Challenges." Today, we explore how HGS built a greenfield implementation of Microsoft Fabric, merging diverse ERP systems into a global analytics platform that drives real-time insights and business value. And I can't think of two better people to help us unpack this. We're pleased to have two folks from HGS with us today. First, let me introduce Hemant Varshney, our Chief Architect and Cloud Analytics Leader at HGS, an expert in enterprise data transformation. And he's accompanied by Pankaj Agarwal, our Director, Digital Data and Analytics at HGS, specializing in analytics integration across major ERP systems. Welcome, both Hemant and Pankaj. Glad to have you guys today.
Thank you, Andrew. As Andrew mentioned, I'm Hemant Varshney. Been doing a lot of data analytics work for 30 plus years. Lately, my focus has been architecture and advisory services for our clients, where we evaluate different technologies, different tools, what's coming in the market, and really help clients select the right best one for them. And this is one of those endeavors where we looked at Microsoft Fabric. Pankaj, you want to talk about yourself a little bit more?
Sure, thanks, Hemant. This is Pankaj Agarwal. I have around 23 plus years of experience in IT field. I have been into cloud analytics from last 6-7 years, and then I'm kind of managing the IDC, and I have completed many projects in many domains across SAP BW and then cloud. So I have wide areas of expertise and experience in implementing analytics solution on any platform.
Great, thanks, Pankaj. And Pankaj and his team was instrumental in doing this project, and then you'll see, the different challenges and findings out of this project for us. Can we go to poll first?
Yes, let's launch the poll. Question today is related to: where do you stand with Microsoft Fabric adoption? We'd like to know if you're already using it, or if you're planning to try in the next 6 months, or potentially exploring options, or not on our roadmap yet. If you can just select one of those options, it'll give us a sense of where our audience is today and how you're thinking about, or where you're at on your journey with Microsoft Fabric and your overall analytics planning. See a couple of folks getting some early votes in there. If we can just quickly select one of those options, we'll give it just another couple seconds to see if we can get everybody an opportunity. And then we can probably close down the poll if everybody's had a chance. Going once, going twice. All right. Oh, I still see a couple floating in there. Okay, well, we got a pretty good split.
Nice. Oh, so 40%
So it looks like
are
you've got a
already
few
using it.
folks that are using, yeah.
Yeah, 40% are already using. Nobody's planning in next 6 months, exploring options. 40%, not on the roadmap. We need to talk to you guys.
There you go.
Yeah.
It looks like your audience today is either already using it and maybe looking to learn a little bit more about best practices, or they're thinking about Fabric as an option. And so how can we help them with that decision process?
Sure. Let's go into the presentation. Dixit, can we switch to the presentation mode? Okay, thank you. So as you all know, what is the objective of this project? Most of these projects are really about data platforms. We are building a data platform for data analytics within the company. And a lot of companies have multi-region environment. They have multiple ERPs. So here, we wanted to do the similar things. We wanted to bring in data, which is in multiple ERPs, multiple regions, into Microsoft in one platform, and this happens to be Microsoft Fabric at this time. We really want to understand the real-time capabilities using Fabric. So to really see what the actionable items are, if we can take multiple actions during the day using this real-time data. That was the other objective here. And as I mentioned, this environment had SAP, the old SAP ECC systems, SAP S4 HANA system, non-SAP systems like Oracle, and other systems where we are bringing data from multiple areas. And as we do this type of work, we are bringing data in from multiple ERPs, creating a consolidated data structure and then harmonized data structure for it. We are bringing all this data into some sort of a harmonized and consolidated structure so we can make it ready for usage by the analytics team, mostly to enable self-services or doing our data analytics work like AI, ML, and other things. So that's why the unified architecture makes an important point here. And then really self-service is one of the things which we are looking at. And you'll see during this that how Power BI and Fabric combination helps self-service, especially in the real-time environment, because we'll talk about that in the next slide. So here was the architecture which we put together as this part of this project. As I was saying, multiple ERP systems. So we had S4 HANA on the top, where we are bringing data using ADF. So a lot of people know about Fabric that it still has some limitations in bringing SAP data directly into Fabric. So we had to resort to ADF, usage of ADF there. We were bringing data from SQL Server using our on-premise data gateway. Same thing with Oracle. And then for the older ERP systems, in this project, we were using SLT replication to bring data into SAP HANA. And that was being replicated to a SQL database within Fabric, because that was one of the requirements there. And it was being directly used by the Power BI here. We did use a medallion architecture where you have 3 different layers: a landing zone, transform zone, or the gold zone. Or you may be familiar with the bronze, silver, and gold connotations there. So we were using the similar construct. In the bronze zone, we bring in data as is. In silver zone, we bring all the data of similar data from different ERPs, different systems into one area. And then gold is really our consumption model, where we really, based on the usage of the data, we create dimensional modeling there. So typical architecture, this is what we implement in most of the data platforms, and Fabric is no different here. So you'll also see, how we are using Power BI. Power BI is integral part of the Fabric. So in Fabric, here's a big difference, that we can create semantic models within Fabric itself. So rather than creating them in Power BI, we create those semantic models, and then Power BI connects to the Fabric using direct connection. So this is where the real-time processing makes sense, because if the data is always being pumped from the backend systems, Power BI is looking at the data in real time, and then you can refresh those dashboards or analysis in real time. That's one of the key pieces of the architecture with Fabric. And here's a typical data model, as part of the gold layer, which we develop, mostly the dimension model. You'll see here also, we have dimensions for material, you have dimensions for vendor, and then you have dimensions for time, customer, and then we have the fact table. I think in this case, we are looking at purchase orders or something. So a typical data model for us. So let's talk about the way we implemented this project, as well as the challenges we faced, and the type of takeaways out of this overall project. So Pankaj, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can click through the slides also.
Okay, thanks, Hemant. When we started this project, the first and foremost objective was to get the SAP data into Azure, into Fabric, and that is also data coming incrementally from SAP to Fabric. So the option that we chose was to use CDC connector of SAP Data Factory. So CDC connector is not available within Fabric Data Factory. So we had to use the Azure, regular Azure Data Factory for the same. Now, before I get into the kind of challenges we faced, let's talk about the major requirement about this project, and how did we kind of step by step build it. So the major requirement for this project was to migrate some strategic BW reports to Fabric, and in order to do that, we first worked with business users. We had several round of workshops, and then identified which report to be migrated, understood the kind of functionality of those reports, and then we analyzed the data flows within SAP BW. So, like, what is the data source? What is the model behind? How the data are filtered within BW report, and any other formula calculation. So all those things we did analysis of that, and then documented it. So in the third step, we got a kind of complete footprint of a particular SAP BW report, having a complete end-to-end data mapping, understanding, derivations, filters, everything. So I'll talk about the result of it in the last slide of this webinar. But this exercise was a very beneficial exercise for us, and I'll let you know why in the last slide. But after documenting complete mapping of BW queries, we kind of as we were implementing Fabric in parallel, and we were extracting raw tables in parallel in Fabric, and we extracted all the raw tables which were needed for a particular BW query into Fabric, and then started mapping BW data field versus the raw table data field into Fabric. one-on-one. So that mapping helped us in rewriting or kind of rebuilding the logic which is there in SAP BW. Once we have the mapping between Fabric, raw table, and SAP BW source, along with all the calculations and derivations and filters, etc., we started building the logic in the gold layer. Obviously, after transforming all the data, joining them together, creating dimensions, facts, on top of that, we started creating views, reporting views for that particular SAP BW report. So it was a kind of agile methodology. We built it, we tested against the report. Again, we got some issues, we corrected them. So yeah, it was an iterative development, and then finally we achieved, or I would say we achieved the result same as BW. And the first few KPIs which we did were like purchase order KPIs and moving average KPIs. And it was a successful implementation. Business tested it and they were happy to see the result. And it was a very quick kind of data availability as well, because uh, we have scheduled our pipelines in Fabric every 2 hours. So so the raw data were getting refreshed every 2 hours incrementally into Fabric. So now I will move on to next slide to talk about the challenges which we faced. Okay. So as I was discussing, I mean, before talking about SAP BW query migration, I was talking about SAP CDC implementation. So, okay, let me switch to next slide first, then I'll come to this. Okay, sorry. So we are talking about this over here. So basically, SAP CDC implementation that we have done, um, it was like if you see the first point in the sorry, if you see the right bottom, use of data factory CDC connector not available with Fabric. Okay, so that's the point I'm talking about. Uh, so when we got CDC connector implemented, we were getting data into the Azure Data Lake Gen 2 within Azure, not in Fabric, right? And there was a challenge to move this data to Fabric. And also another challenge was to make it automatic. Like when Fabric starts the pipeline, it should call Azure Data Factory. Then Azure Data Factory will extract the data from SAP, and then finally the uh, the Fabric will move the extracted data into Lakehouse. So this whole thing we automated using the APIs, Data Factory APIs. Like we were calling Data Factory APIs from Fabric to trigger Azure Data Factory, which extract data into Azure using CDC connector. So that was the kind of best practice we followed, and mitigated the major challenge for this particular project. And that was the main success criteria for this project. So at the end, we were able to successfully integrate CDC connector with SAP as well as Fabric. So that's how it was. And now I'll talk about the few other challenges which we faced during this implementation. the one thing was that, I mean, it's a generic challenge, but in Fabric, when we kind of, I'm talking about CSV extract causing data type issue. So when we were extracting data into CSVs, so I'll put it this way: when you use CDC connector in ADF, it will give you the data in CSV file. Now from that CSV, when you load it into Fabric, we were using Parquet file. So we were not loading it as same as CSV. So that helped us in resolving some data type issues, as well as it gave us some performance also. Another challenge we faced was selective delete. So in the notebook, Fabric notebook, for Delta table, we were not able to selectively delete and load. And we used merge, which is anyway best practice to use merge, but for some of the requirement, we were trying to do selective delete and where, delete with where, so it was not working. The third one was like there were some lakehouse and SQL tables which were not visible in the respective SQL endpoint. So I mean, earlier we were facing issues, not every table was visible. Then we raised a ticket to Microsoft and they resolved it. But still, randomly, some tables were not visible in the SQL endpoint. Then on the right side of the slide, on the top, there is a challenge which is mentioned like Fabric Notebook don't support direct queries. So I mean, this is about like when we want to load into warehouse. So earlier we we thought of using Synapse warehouse within Fabric. So we were trying to load data from Silver layer to Synapse warehouse, but in Notebook we cannot do it. So we had to do it via pipeline. That was another challenge. And one of the second major challenge I would say was trigger-based parameter passing. So in Fabric, we cannot pass on or we cannot create multiple triggers and on the same pipeline and then pass on different parameters to execute a pipeline with different parameters. So to overcome this challenge, we created a config file, and we created in a way that one single parameter which we need uh, will run the whole show. I mean, remaining things will automatically being driven by that parameter. And then it will call, using that parameter, it will call first Azure Data Factory, then Azure Data Factory will pass on further parameters to the Fabric pipeline and so on. So that way we kind of automated everything here. I'll talk about some more challenges. So the first challenge on the left side top, no dynamic parameter passing by schedule. So I mean, we were talking about trigger limitation earlier. It was like we cannot create multiple triggers. Okay. Now another thing was, even if there is a single trigger, dynamically we cannot pass a parameter to the pipeline. It was a hard-coded parameter. So for that, we created JSON-like object to pass it to the parameter, and then that first level of JSON-like object drove everything further. Then coming to default ingestion to the lakehouse. So when we create a lakehouse, by default you will see the DBO schema, and then you can create custom schemas also over there. But by default, it will always target into DBO schema. So lakehouse doesn't support schema like custom schema or something, and that is still in the public preview. So that was another challenge. there is a very generic thing we do in any Azure implementation when we try to run a notebook, Databricks notebook or Synapse notebook within a generic Azure Data Factory. We simply give the notebook name or kind of Databricks notebook name or Synapse notebook name. But in Fabric, we have to give the object ID. It does not. It does not.
It doesn't support the names.
Yeah, it does not support the name actually. So that was the thing. And then Fabric pipeline, like within pipeline, we cannot use merge queries. So we can use in the notebook, but not in the pipeline. That was another challenge. Okay.
Yeah. As you can see,
So-
these are some nuances, which definitely, as time goes on, these hopefully Microsoft will make changes to these and then add those things.
Yeah. So I mean, down the line, we had workaround of everything, and we were working in parallel with Microsoft also to raise tickets to them, and they helped us solving so many things within the implementation period. Now coming to best practices which we followed. So one thing I already explained about SAP CDC. How did we automate that? So that was one of the best practice I would say we achieved. And then medallion architecture we followed, which is one of the best practice on any analytics platform. And we automated the transformations with reusable notebooks. So like if we are getting hundreds of tables from same SAP source, then it was just one single notebook which used to take care of moving data from bronze layer to silver layer, or moving data from let's say Azure Data Lake Gen to bronze layer lake house. Okay, so it was a one single notebook, and similarly we use the dynamic data extraction with single pipeline. Okay, so the first one was transformation, and then second one was the like extraction which I was talking about from Data Lake Gen to bronze layer. Okay.
And these are definitely these are one of those two accelerators which we have used
Yeah.
at multiple clients. So we make sure that we are also using those in Microsoft Fabric.
Yes. So now coming to the business benefit we have achieved out of this solution. So finally we got a unified data platform which basically adheres to data governance policies, and it is a trusted data source. And then since Fabric has AI capabilities, so you can build AI applications on top of it. It's an easy to use tool. So Fabric has everything. It's like one box solution. So I mean, we can achieve DevOps, data governance, AI, everything over here. Then we were able to process like around 2 million incremental records every day, and I mean with using like upserts and everything, and that was like every 2 hours, and then around 50 million records per day we were processing, including full and incremental both. So full load was only once in a day, which was for like smaller tables like text tables and some specific master data tables and all those things. Apart from that, we got like almost near time availability of data, because every 2 hours we were loading the data. So with this platform, data-driven decision making was like trustworthy and quick, and then we got a better performance, better platform, and
Mhm.
and at a reasonable cost, I would say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry, Pankaj. One thing I would like to mention here is that when we talk about real-time data availability in Fabric, there's the major difference that Power BI connects directly to the Fabric. It's not importing data for performance, and then we didn't see much of a performance issues there.
Yeah. Coming to the some other business benefit in functional terms, like the key KPIs which we developed initially. Uh, Different business users got different benefit, or their plant manager got improved kind of improvement in the local production by plant and rework percentage. And the KPI reports were helpful for reducing the delay in orders, and also they got pretty good insights into their SKUs. Um Sales and planning people, they got an optimized production cycle, and like the fulfillment of the order was improved after getting those KPIs into Fabric quickly because of the 2 hours cycle. Uh, the supply chain users got like they were able to optimize their batch schedule, and then again same thing, like they were able to reduce the delays in the order fulfillment, and also their stock alignment was optimized, and it helped in their inventory management also. uh, the quality control person was able to reduce the rework rate, and uh, rework rate by, let's say, material supervisor or work center. And finance and controlling people got insight into their production cost by cost centers, and then they were able to optimize the inventory cost. So yeah, I mean, the kind of KPIs that we developed, these were the kind of benefit business achieved with a quick availability of data. Now, coming to the last but not the least, the key takeaways of this implementation, which I was talking about somewhere in the middle of this presentation. So, the first thing I would like to talk about is the template design. So, so if you see on the left side bottom, there is a key takeaway called a template design to migrate SAP BW queries to MS Fabric. So the way we documented this whole migration, that particular document became a pretty good template for us. Like it was very quick, easy to refer to this and then migrate further queries. So yeah, we have a template design, I would say, to migrate SAVW to MS Fabric in a quick and easy way now. Uh, Another thing I'll talk about, topmost in the left side, we have got documented knowledge and experience on key limitations and challenges which we faced while implementing this platform, and we have worked around for those. Now, it may happen in future that the same challenge may not be a challenge. So yeah, obviously, every product will mature in itself, and we'll see the new challenges in that, right? But yeah, initial hurdle we crossed, and we have the experience for that. In the middle on the left side, we now have experience and solution guide. So actually, we have prepared a pretty good implementation guide for Azure Data Factory CDC connector specifically, like how to implement it, and what are the key uh, key components you need to, or key options you need to cover in order to make it work. So that's a pretty good takeaway you can have from here. And on the right side, topmost, we have got a ready template solution for a modernized data platform. So overall, I mean, overall, as part of this solution, now we have a kind of template solution available with us, which can be utilized further implement in the further implementations. Uh, Moving down, we have so so it was not only just the implementation, it was implementation with proper guidelines, standards, templates. So we prepared everything. We prepared our design standards, guidelines, naming conventions. So all those are now available with us, especially for fabric implementation. And the last but not the least, there was also a small kind of implementation of SAP IBP data source into Fabric. So that also we did achieve using the push mechanism. But later on, this requirement was put into kind of backstage. So we did not go further on it. But SAP IBP data can also be integrated into Fabric quickly using the push mechanism within SAP IBP. So it can push the data to Azure. So I think
Yeah.
that's all from my side.
Yeah, at the end, I would just say, knowing that Fabric is a newer tool in the Microsoft hopper, but it works. I think that the one key aspect is, yes, it is working and it works. There are some nuances which we know how to go around it and then get the work done. And we have done this, and then we are looking at doing it to the multiple other clients also. So if you guys are interested, or if you are on the fence, you can connect with us, and we'll let you know how things will work in Fabric. Next, I think Andrew.
So Andrew, over to
I
you.
think we have some time for Q&A now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, good. We actually have several questions that have already rolled in. So thank you guys for taking us through your presentation. Let me go ahead. I'm going to share the first question up on the screen. Are you doing any conversions from Azure Synapse into Fabric? And what did you have to rebuild? Were you able to leverage any programs to help with the conversion?
So
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Pankaj.
we haven't migrated from Synapse to Fabric yet, but we did one proof of concept to move the Azure Analysis Service data, which was on Synapse, to Fabric. So that kind of exercise we have done.
So my take on that is, because if you have implemented in Synapse, if you have implemented a Medallion architecture, and you are using notebooks and other things to really create your gold layer as well as the consolidation and harmonized layer, it becomes easy because technically it's the same notebooks, and technically you may have to just get the files uploaded into Fabric because it's a different structure or a different file system. But I think it's easy just converting from Synapse into Fabric.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. A couple more questions here. I'll share another one a little faster. Do you need to use DataSphere to ingest and egress data?
Hemant, you want to answer this? Or
Yeah, no. In this scenario, we haven't used it yet, but yes, definitely with SAP pushing for DataSphere, and we have used DataSphere projects. We have done DataSphere projects with other clients, but not in terms of Fabric. But DataSphere, if I'm using DataSphere for ingesting and egressing data, at least ingesting data is good because you're writing to a different blob location or Azure location here. So it would be a Fabric, storage rather than any other area. So that's easy. Egress, I've not looked into that yet.
and DataSphere will also use the CDC mechanism only at the end.
DataSphere uses internal same thing as what we are using with using ADF.
And the challenges which we faced on SAP side, which we did not talk about actually. There were several challenges on SAP side also, uh, which uh, which we kind of resolved with SAP only by raising the support ticket with SAP.
Mhm.
And same challenges are there even if you do the same thing with DataSphere.
Yeah, those
So
are challenges within the
it
SAP
doesn't need
system. So
much.
those do not go away by Fabric.
There was a related follow-on question also from Sunil saying, I heard SAP has some restrictions on data extraction from SAP systems. Any
Yeah,
comments there?
that has been a point of conversation lately a lot, because I
Okay,
think we're talking
sorry,
about.
somehow my speaker got muted, but I can read the question. So, yeah, I mean, SAP has some restrictions, and it has released a note also that it won't be supporting these CDC connector via OData connectivity, via ODP connection, sorry. And everything has to be done via OData connection. We spoke to Microsoft about it, and Microsoft assured us that they will talk to SAP and they will overcome any challenge with SAP if there is any. So yeah, there are restrictions, but Microsoft has to deal with them.
Very good. Another question coming in from Madeline. Will the introduction of SAP Business Data Cloud, which enables connections to non-SAP systems, prompt you to adjust your solution architecture for SAP migration to Fabric?
Yeah, so we are hearing this new tool. SAP has done partnership with Databricks, bringing Business Data Cloud. So it is a part of SAP business strategy. We'll see how this tool pan out. And I mean, it's a business decision that client needs to take. But I mean, after evaluation, which one is
Yeah.
better, which one is not,
Mhm.
the decision can be taken to move to BDC cloud also. Uh, I mean, right now there is not much information about BDC, about the cost, everything. So we need to see how it pans out.
Yeah. As Pankaj said, those are two different environment, two different platforms, I would say. If you are selecting Fabric as your platform, definitely then you're not looking at BDC. That's different, altogether different platform. In BDC, we are using SAP DataSphere plus Databricks. Databricks would be your compute engine as well as your database in that environment. But how they pan out over time, we have to see, because it's a newer tool. As you can see, Fabric, we saw a lot of kinks in the Fabric implementation. We would definitely see a lot of kinks in Databricks implementation. And Databricks doesn't even have a proper connector for direct connector to SAP earlier. So definitely these guys are working together in bringing those.
Nice. Here's one. Have you seen any performance issues with Power BI using Direct Connect to Fabric?
No, I mean, we haven't seen any such problem. Uh, we'll see, I mean, how it goes with growing data volume. But so far, with billions of records, everything seems to be going fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing, we saw as I would say, a pleasantly surprised to see it performing as well as, an import. But as Pankaj mentioned, we'll have to see if and data grows. Definitely, your query time will grow, and understanding the physics of how things work. If you have trillions and trillions of data rows, then definitely there's going to be impact.
Excellent. One more question, and then if there's any other questions from the group here, please do continue to share. We're happy to try to address as many as possible in the time we have. Here's one more. What is the Fabric capacity used in the solution to achieve required performance?
Okay, so for this, every 2 hours data loading and then supporting Power BI on top of it, we used F128 capacity fabric in production. For development, we used the lesser one, but for production, it was F128.
Excellent. One more question here. Does it import data into Power BI, or it's a live connection?
Hemant, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, in this scenario, we use the live connection. So that's why, we were talking about if you're using live connection, you can enable real-time reporting also. So if you're refreshing your data sets multiple times a day, your Power BI, because it's not import, is looking at the latest data.
So I would like to add something here. In Fabric, you know that Power BI is the integral part of Fabric, right? So earlier semantic modeling was done in the Power BI itself, and it used to be external to the data warehouse. Now, within Fabric, the semantic modeling can be done, and that is connected live to the semantic data there itself, utilizing the same compute cluster, same capacity. So, since semantic model is now part of the same data warehouse, same storage, same compute, it's basically there is no need to import data into Power BI now. So it's directly connected over there.
Oh, good advice. One more question, it looks like. Does Fabric provide Power BI Premium by default?
No, it doesn't. You have to purchase the premium capacity with F64 and above. The premium capacity is available, and the good part is that there is no per user license with F64 and above. So any number of users can use it if you have purchased premium with F64 and above. But below that, premium is not available. You have to purchase the Power BI regular license, and that's it.
Excellent. Well, thank you. It looks like we've gotten through our questions. We had some really good ones today. Thank you, Hemant and Pankaj, for your insightful presentations, especially on making Microsoft Fabric work at scale for us. I want to thank you to our audience for participation. For further discussions, please feel free to connect with our team at marketing@teamhgs.com. We also invite you to register for our next session, which is coming up tomorrow in the HGS webinar series. Attendees will be eligible on that next webinar to sign up for a free assessment during the live event. So encourage you to jump over there or to share that with somebody else in your organization that might be interested in personalization and really how do you optimize that to make it a real differentiator. And again, for everybody, thank you for your participation and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.